Good afternoon, gentlemen of the American Fantasy Football League. This is your league reporter, Paul Glassman, coming at you. We are here in week one, day one of the NFL season. We had our draft on Monday, which was a ton of fun for all of us that were in the live chat room. I'm sorry that all of you couldn't make it. But as you can already tell, the videos are going to be a little different this year. I'm actually going to be recording the screen instead of having you guys look at my beautiful face the entire time. I know that you guys are going to miss that. But, and then I'm going to speak about two different teams in our fantasy football league. I'm going to talk about who their top scorers were and who their bottom scorers were and who I think is going to be a sleeper. And then I'm going to talk about the matchups. So let's get going here. As you can see, this beautiful draft report card that has been posted, going from an A+ to an F, the Sacramento Steelhead having the greatest draft, according to ESPN.com, in the Fantasy Football League this year. Mind you, they went 3-8 last year, didn't have the greatest season. And then the new team, the Orlando Breakers, not having the best draft. You know, the CFL has a fantasy league too. All right, let's get going here. The first team I'm going to talk about has to be the returning champions, the Air Red Raiders, managed by John Paredes. Now, John had a great season. He always said that by me voting against him to win was actually helping him push through the playoffs and eventually getting to that Melanie Championship. The first guy I want to talk about here is Jay Cutler. Every analyst that I've heard has said that Jay Cutler is poised to have a good season. Although I will say he is to face a tough schedule from weeks 2 to 6. If you don't know what a schedule is, let's take a look at it. Week 2, the Santa Clara 49ers at Santa Clara. That's going to be a tough game, a tough matchup for Jay Cutler. Santa Clara has a great defense, and I think he's going to encounter some problems. Week 3 at the New York Jets. Rex Ryan is a very defensive-minded coach, but I don't think Cutler's going to have too much of a problem there. Week 4, hosting Green Bay at Soldier Field in Chicago. I think that the home game momentum might be able to help them a little bit, but Green Bay is going to have a good defense as well. The 2 weeks that I am truly worried about for Cutler here is Week 5 at Carolina, who had one of the best defenses in the NFL last season, and then Week 6 at Atlanta, who usually has a pretty good defense, although last season they didn't look so good. But as we all know, the NFL is week to week and year to year. Now, the next guy I want to take a look at is Marshawn Lynch. Now, a lot of you may be saying, oh yeah, he's going to talk about Marshawn Lynch because he's a Seahawks fan. No, I'm going to talk about Marshawn Lynch because he's a producer. I think Marshawn Lynch is going to be one of the biggest cornerstones for the Red Raiders offense this season. You can count on close to 100 yards a game and at least one touchdown. Finally, Vernon Davis. That's a big target for Colin Kaepernick in the Niners offense. But he has to stay healthy. He's had problems with concussions the last couple seasons, but fantasy-wise, this is a guy you want on your squad when he's healthy. So, with that being said, I'm going to go on to my next team here, the Sacramento Steelhead, who, according, like I said, to ESPN.com, had the greatest draft in the league. But, again, I want you to remember, they ain't last season. They were 5 games out of their division, and the Steelhead also scored the second least amount of points in the league. But, hey, there's no reason to live in the past, right? The Steelhead have on paper what seems to be a great offense. With Russell Wilson at the helm and guys like Julio Jones, or Julio Jones, however you want to say it, Michael Crabtree and Rob Gronkowski, just to name a few, I think he's going to have, Boss is going to have a great season this year. But again, I want to stress, look at guys like Gronkowski, Crabtree, and Harvin, who have all had injuries in the past. So my question is, what's your emergency preparedness? What is your plan if one of these guys or all of these guys happen to be bit by the injury bug again? Now, obviously, you never want to root for someone to get hurt because that's just not good sportsmanship, but you have to be aware of it. And then you look at a guy like Frank Gore, who is getting older. but he has posed 1,000 yards a season for, like, what is it, the last 10 seasons? That's not a bad statistic. And then you even have a guy like Carlos Hyde on the bench, who's been on a tear this preseason. I think the Steelhead are in very good shape going into week 1. So now, with that being said, let's take a look at this week's scoreboard. Now I'm going to try and put a poll up every week with the different matchups. And I want everyone to, now you're on the honor system here, I want everyone to vote for matchups to who they think they're going to win, but do not vote for your own matchup. Now I'm going to break that rule real quick because I am a co-owner of the UPS Loggers, but I have nothing to do with team relations. I'm just on the broadcasting side of things. So I think UPS Loggers at the Orlando Breakers in Game 1. The Loggers, even though we went 5-6 last year, I think we're going to go 1-0 this week. The Intrustman We Trust hosting the Cheesehead Champs. I think that Joe is going to go 1-0 here. Potty wins versus the Grifters. Potty wins had a great season last year. I don't see any reason why it's going to change this year. Potty wins 1-0. A little family rivalry here. The Oklahoma Ass Kickers at the Dalton Gang. I'm going to go with the Ass Kickers in the upset over the Dalton Gang. Now let's go up to the Prospect Hill Goskowskis at the Bolo Power. Oh, wait, excuse me. The Prospect Hill Punishers. But I'm going to pick Bolo Power 1-0 just because I still have a bone to pick with John for keeping Goskowski. Why waste your 7th keeper on a kicker? This one was a little tough for me to decide here. The Tacktown Thugs at the Pawtucket Patriot Elves. I know both Dave and Griffin, and I respect both of them a lot, but I'm going to have to go with the Tacktown Thugs here, going 1-0. Shipley has always been able to put up a good amount of points in week 1, and it's nothing against Griffin. Tacktown Thugs, 1-0. Texas State Armadillos at the Sacramento Steelhead. Sacramento Steelhead's offense is really healthy right now, and I think the Steelhead are going 1-0. Finally, you have the Oklahoma Outlaws at the Air Red Raiders. All last season, Mr. Paredes was saying that he kept wanting me to broadcast that his team was going to lose because I was helping him. So the Air Red Raiders, 1-0. All right, gentlemen, that's this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. We'll see you again next week. Go American Fantasy Football League, and good luck.